creative, I would say. Where's the chat? Green. No, not green, but yes, violet. Exactly. Well, actually purple. Yeah. So I bought a purple hair dye. Let's see how it goes. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll be able to see my crazy adventures with the hair. But yeah, that's a little bit about myself. Now I want to hear from some of you. I don't know, whoever is a brave individual that would like to share. What is one takeaway that you took from today? If you had to summarize the whole day of today, what do you think is the thing that stuck in your head? Nobody? That MC and ECB have an incredible or have to synergy. Have to, yes. Lucas, FNL at BH at Brazil. Nice. Mayel says the plurality of accents. Oh, interesting. I want to hear the story about this. Why the plurality of accents? Karina laughs. Anyone else? Okay, I'm seeing your faces. At least some of you are smiling. Oh, yes. Who is speaking?
Hello.
Oh, hi.
Yeah, essentially. So, like,
What's your name and entity? I cannot
I'm Anshul. I'm from AIESEC in India.
Awesome.
So, like, basically, right now I work in an LC, so I don't have much experience in the AIESEC. So for me, some things were, bounce off, like because all were like MC and ICV, ECV. So, but yeah, at least I learned so many things about the ECP and I enjoyed a lot. And
nice.
That was a great thing. With that, I finish.
Awesome. One more person who would like to share. Nobody? Lucas and Nikki and Ilinka are perfect. AC team. There's a bunch of internal jokes that I don't get, but I'm happy that people get it here because they're laughing. So good. Awesome. Okay. So I'll tell you a little bit of a story because it's not a plenary without a story, but this story is not very exciting. It's just my relationship with ECB and ICB throughout my years in AIESEC. So like I told you before in the opening plenary, my first interaction with ACB was in a crisis when my EP got mugged by a weapon. It was a weapon robbery, and he was pretty shaken. So ECB helped us in the next steps and how to deal with that. Then, to be honest, I'm gonna be completely honest with you, my relationship with ECB was almost non-existent after that. And I think that was a problem because I only knew that we needed to have someone responsible for checking the cases as LCVP, OGX. Like, of course, I knew who the ECB chair of AIESEC in Canada was, but there was really not a lot of routines with them or anything like that. It was kind of like, if shit's gonna hit the fan, you know that ECB is going to be here and ICB is also going to be contacting you. That's pretty much what I knew about it. And then when I was in MC in Australia, I remember that a lot of, like, we needed to have an ECB chair. We put 3 rounds of applications. Nobody applied. And we ended up putting a person responsible from the MC because that was we needed to have it as per compendium, but we didn't have any pipeline. And we knew that was wrong, but we couldn't do anything about it. So we put one MC responsible who was also acting kind of like ECB chair. And then after that, actually, I ended up being very good friends with the previous ECB chair of AIESEC in Australia. And she told me like, yeah, I really enjoy, like, I really like the role of ECB, but the stories are destroying me. She told me the stories that I hear about people going on experiences in AIESEC and what are the issues that they encounter and the situations in which they do their experiences, they're just like, it's really hitting me, and it's making me not enjoy the organization. And that's why I didn't want to do it one more year. And that really hit me, because I was like, wow, how if I am MC, I don't hear about these things. I have no idea what is happening. And in the end, like, we live almost in like a utopia of AIESEC where everything is good and we want to do more exchange and we want to do more things and more about operations and improving processes so that we can be faster and get more. But we never talked about what are the current issues that are not allowing us to actually deliver AIESEC experiences. And then when I was in regional office, also I knew of ICB, and at this time, like, we didn't deal with ECBs at all. It wasn't until, well, when I was in regional office that I started to see all these issues, especially with global entrepreneur. At that time, I was a bit frustrated about the type of experiences that we handle in global entrepreneur. It was becoming extremely random, not really anything about entrepreneurship, and everything about like faster, better, or like faster, more, and volume. And it was really frustrating me as a person that truly believes in the AIESEC way and truly believes in what AIESEC does. I felt like people were doing whatever they wanted, and there was no way for us to be able to fix it. So I remember I was like, I want to be, one of the roles that I really wanted to do was ICB chair. I was like, I believe that if I'm ICB chair, I will be able to fix all of this and people will have to comply. I was very frustrated because I felt like there needs to be a system, and I totally understand that MCs and LCs have their jobs, and their jobs are to do with strategy, right? They need to deal with the strategies, communication, where do they go, what channels do they interact, but there needs to be a system that really takes into consideration what is, like, how are we developing these experiences, not only when shit hits the fan, but actually more proactively. And that's when actually I started working in the governance system, and tomorrow I'll explain you everything about that project and how that project went and all the sleepless nights that Karina and I spent working on this governance system. But it was in my AI experience when I got to meet ICB, well, Karina as a chair, we became very, very good friends. And I developed a lot of respect for the work that you do, because I think that you take a lot of the hits that AIESEC takes, and you do it in a very quiet way. And I think that not a lot of people are able to give you the place that you deserve in the organization. So in my views, I absolutely love and think that you are completely essential to the operations of AIESEC. And yeah, that was essentially what I wanted to tell you in my story, that even though I never interacted that much with ECBs and ICB, it was when I started to take a role of a position where I needed to think about how things would operate that I really started to appreciate the role of a control board. So I want to ask you, because I'm sure that if you're here, you have things that you absolutely love about your job. So I want to ask you, what is your favorite thing about being ECB? Getting emotional. Anyone would like to share? You can type, or you can just unmute.
I can share. I will share because I was a CB too. I'm ICB now, but I was a CB Brazil once. So honestly, the thing that I liked the most at the time, and then it changed, was because I always had the opportunity that this is kind of, today I see it a bit silly, but you will understand. I always saw the MC role as something like, wow, I want to be MC, blah, blah, blah. But I never applied for that because I didn't want to move from where I lived. And I was like, how can I get closer to them? And I applied for ECB and I got elected because I felt that I would be working together with the MC. And then I found out that I liked it a lot, the MC role, because they were working with strategies and they were defining the things that will impact the future of the organization. And I was like, I can also do that with ECB. And that's when I understood the role of the ECB and also the ICB one, because I would be super related to the strategies for the future. And if the strategy is related to delivering better experiences, super cool. So this was my highlight for the ECB role.
Nice. Thank you, Ka, for sharing. And we have a few of them. So Wen says, having an impact in my entity that is making it more sustainable and customer centric. Luis says, being a point of reference in the national plenary. Sophia says, getting to know all the work behind of everything. Mayel says, I love getting closer to the network and helping them to give better experiences, not only for EPs, but especially for the members that have so much to deal with. The way we deal with the network will also affect their experience and can make it better if we work for it. Kaiken says, see AIESEC from another place. Raul says, help to others to solve their problems and teach them how to solve by themselves. Mayo says, educating ourselves and others. Mariana says, opportunity to guarantee a good and complete and legal experience. And Ayat says, dealing with many people and guide them and know how AIESEC is going. Awesome. Those are beautiful things. And I hope that you can execute them and actually live and enjoy that role as you go. I'll tell you what my favorite thing about your role is. And for me, I truly believe, because I know that we say, at least when I was in MC, even in LCP, when you are in like leadership roles, the MC, AI, where you need to coordinate different strategies and make sure that things are aligned, they tell you that you are kind of the guardian of the AIESEC way. But for me, if there's a role that is truly, truly the guardians of the AIESEC way, it's you. Because especially with this new governance system and what we envisioned it to be, with this new role of being more proactive, you truly, like, you're really specifically checking what exactly it means to deliver an AIESEC experience, whether it is an exchange or it is an engagement with AIESEC event, or it is anything in the experiences. You're truly looking at how do we make sure that every experience that we have is a leadership development experience. And that for me is like, it's key, because you're the only people that are thinking about these things. And yes, the MC is thinking about it in a different way and AI is thinking about it in a strategic way. But if they imagine with the information that you gather in your role, how much better experiences we will be able to give, and how much more context we could get to actually improve. So I absolutely believe that, and my favorite thing about your role is this, that you're truly the guardians of the AIESEC way. And I love systems. I absolutely love systems. So if you are a person that doesn't like systems, hopefully by today you fall in love with them and you're super excited to share them with your network as well. Because for me, governance systems, they give clarity, they reduce ambiguity, and they improve organizations as a whole. It's not only about, tracking, and like, if you're not doing this, if you're not doing that, and you're not doing that, not at all. It's actually, a governance system is like setting the rules of the game and being like, okay, if AIESEC way has these determinations, like if an AIESEC product is supposed to give this and this and this and this and this, these are the rules of the game. And everything outside is fair game. So go out, play, and you are defining, you're making sure that the organization can stay true to its core. And a well-implemented system actually drives innovation. So whoever tells you like, oh, you're killing our creativity, we cannot do anything, you're looking at it from the wrong standpoint. And also, as the systems are going to evolve, I would like to tell you also that maybe there are certain things that you are tracking that doesn't make a lot of sense, and it's okay to change it. But the core of the governance system is to ensure that the most important things that define an AIESEC experience are there and are guarded, and that everyone in the organization that claims to be running AIESEC is actually running AIESEC. And innovation, like when you allow, the rules of the game are clear, and when you know what entities can customize, not customize, what they can play around, what are the things that they can do outside of the AIESEC way, or like the rules of the game, that's innovation. That's true innovation. It's not cutting corners or like doing things the fastest way, but not without taking into consideration the AIESEC way. So a good governance system is not full control of everything. Like I know we had SOPs and I worked on these SOPs and I also fucked up making SOPs saying like people need to register here and then we need to call them 24 hours. And then in the 24-hour call, you need to make sure that you book a consultancy call. And then in the consultancy call, they need to do this and we need to track that people are calling all of them, la, la, la. No. This is way too much. The idea is not to tell people how to do things. The idea is to tell people what exactly is the minimum, the bare minimum that will determine an AIESEC experience. So a good governance system is not authoritative. It's not, ICB decides and ECB decides and the MC needs to comply just because we need to decide. Or AI decides and then we just need to comply because that's how it is. Not at all. And a good governance system is not one that doesn't allow entities to have their own individual ideas and their own individual creativity. It's not about that. But without good governance, and I'll explain to you what a good governance system is, but without good governance, there's no room for innovation or creativity because there's so much anarchy and so much disaster, you don't even know where to start. And you see that if you check like 2 years ago, most of the strategies of an MC were not strategies. They were trying to control how to deliver good experiences for AIESEC. So it's like you're doing the ECB role in a way, but you then don't have the chance or the opportunity to actually think, how do you want to develop more impact? And how do you actually want to reach more people, because you're constantly checking these specific things that are supposed to be in your system. So it doesn't drive innovation. It actually restricts it. And there's no AIESEC way. Without a good governance system, there is no AIESEC way. There is a bunch of different people who claim to be in AIESEC who are doing whatever the hell they want to do. That's just not a governance system. And without good governance, there's also not clear opportunity for improvement, because there's so many things and everything is so arbitrary that you may have an opinion, I may have an opinion, everyone has an opinion, and it would never, you would never understand what exactly or where exactly the organization needs to improve. So what makes a good governance system? And maybe someone can tell me, like, you can shout out words or sentences to see if we're on the same page. What makes a good governance system? Well, clear and fair rules, yes. Knowing how to lead a team, knowing how to listen to everyone and creating constructive discussions, leadership. Yeah. So a good governance system, I'll start and you can keep sharing and I'll read them after. First of all, a good governance system is participatory. Like I told you, it's not authoritative of like, yes, you are going to do this because I say so, and this is my role and I'm determining what we're going to do. It actually takes into consideration everyone in the organization. And that's something that we took into consideration when making this, the governance system. It's consensus oriented. So the idea is not that there's right and wrong. The idea is, how do we make sure that whatever we're going to govern is something that everyone understands that is an issue and everyone agrees that it's something that we need to take care of. It also follows the rules of law, and the rules of law, what it means is that regardless of the position that you hold, regardless of politics and power, it's sort of clean slate for everyone. Everyone has the same rules applied to them, because there's no sort of better or worse entity in this. It's everyone at the level that that we're setting, because it's almost like the human rights, for example. It doesn't matter where you're from or what your power is or what your level of status is, it all applies to them. A good governance system is accountable, like it's able to hold the people within that system accountable and has rules and has consequences, and there are clear consequences for what happens when they are not done. It's transparent, so it's not something like, oh, okay, I'm going to hold you accountable for this, and these are your sanctions, but I had no idea what was going on and why those sanctions were applied to me. So it's transparent, it's responsive, so it changes based on the context, the current context, the external context, the opportunities. It's adaptable to whatever is happening in the organization and beyond. Is equitable and inclusive. Again, takes into consideration not only the loudest voices or the people that does the most exchanges or the people that show up the most. It takes into consideration every single member of the organization or every single entity of the organization, and is effective and efficient. So it really looks for a way in which it drives efficiency and doesn't stop people from performing their roles. Other things that people said: being able to understand every idea and not get them in a bad way. A good governance system allows to comply with the minimums we must provide to our membership and stakeholders. Yes. So for us, in order for us to have a good governance system and to have all of these things in place, not only in AIESEC as a whole, but in your entities and even the LCs, we need communication. We need to make sure that we can communicate not only our ideas, but the purpose behind it, especially when it comes to really complex and dry ideas. Like, I know governance systems, the AEPP, the APIP, they're like boring as fuck documents. Like, I know I wrote them, but that doesn't mean that, if anything, the challenge is bigger, because we need to make sure that the communication and the importance of these documents and these systems are passed through the LCs, the members, the MCs, so that they understand what place they need to give governance in their strategies. The second one is clarity of roles and responsibilities. Like I said, if ECB does their job at their optimal level, the MC's job should be way easier. Because the idea is that you work together and they don't need to, in their strategies, have to track every single thing of the organization or of the experience. The idea is that they work with ECB and they can focus on the creativity, the innovation, the strategy. It requires a lot of empathy, because empathy to customers and understanding how best these systems will serve them, but also empathy to the MCs and understanding their pain points, and the LCs and what are the main things that they're having, the members, and also the ICB or AI or anyone, any stakeholder that you deal with. It requires a lot of empathy to be able to understand where and how to best approach this execution. And the last one is accessibility. So again, the documents are long, are boring. That doesn't mean that the information does not get through. How do we make that information accessible? How do we make it in a way that people understand, they engage, they understand the importance of it? And even if they don't read the whole document, because I know even if you send it, people are not going to read it. And it's not an excuse, and I'm not saying that it's acceptable, but I'm saying that it's a reality. So how do we make these documents, these rules, these systems more accessible for everyone? That one member of the organization that joins yesterday, they understand what are the minimum things that they need to do that qualifies for an AIESEC experience, and how do we protect the AIESEC way. So I would like to give you, I think we're almost running out of time, Karina, so I'm not going to do this exercise. I was going to do an exercise to you, but I'll leave you these questions so you can think about them. And then at some point, answer them throughout the conference. So based on this governance system right now, I want you to think, how would you describe the governance system of your entity? And what is the area that you think you can improve that will make the most difference? Is it accountability? Is it clarity? Is it transparency? Where exactly do you believe that you can improve as an entity. And then the last thing about this is that, yeah, governance systems are very, not complicated, but they're not the most fun to look at. And sometimes you can get lost in the small words and the definitions of things. And in the end, AIESEC is full of young people, and AIESEC is about people, and you will never take the people out of the system. And a system doesn't work if the people are not involved in it. AIESEC is about relationships. AIESEC is about making things fun and making things impactful. AIESEC is about connection and making sure that you understand each other from a place of belonging. And AIESEC is about impact. So now, the other questions that I want you to ask yourselves is for yourself as an ECB member or as an ECB chair, how's your current relationship with the entity? How often do you talk to them? Do you know exactly what they're going through, or what are the challenges that they're facing? Do you have enough checkpoints with them? How well do you and the MCs or the EB know you? Do they know only that you report on different things, or do they actually know and can connect with you on different things outside of the work that you do as an ECB? How much are you connecting with them? And how do they perceive your role? So is there any opportunity for you to become closer or actually leverage these connections, this impact, this magic that AIESEC has to be able to do your job better and actually implement these systems? And lastly, how can you use this conference? Because in the end, this conference is about this, sharing your ideas, seeing your struggles, make sure that you come up with better ways to handle the governance systems that are coming. So how can you use this conference to gather some ideas to improve the way that you work together? Do you want to talk to people? Do you want to form a group of people that are dealing with the same thing and have identified that one of these issues is the same in all your entities and you want to come up with something together? How will you make the most out of this conference? And that was it, the 3 reminders that I have for you today. If there's anything that I told you and you forgot, and you want to remember these 3 things, is that you are guardians of the AIESEC way, and governance systems are extremely important for us to be able to deliver leadership experiences. You are passing through a huge, huge transitional moment for AIESEC, not only because of the external context, but also because of the governance system that you're implementing. So know that it will be overwhelming, it will be complicated, it will be not very clear, and that's okay. And AIESEC is about people, relationships, and connections. So never forget that as much tracking as you do, you also need to understand how to connect with the people that you serve. That's it for today. 3 minutes late, I apologize, but thank you so much for this. I'll stop.
It's okay, Pat. Thank you so much. For sure, these questions are extremely important for all of us. I will make sure to get these questions and to share in the conference group so they can go in more of a reflection way about everything. So thank you so much. It is always really, really nice to hear from you. You will be with us tomorrow, and I'm super happy about that. So guys, tomorrow Pat will still be with us. She has her spaces in the morning in our opening, and also the last space with her on the evening. So if you have any questions for her, bring on the day tomorrow. And I know that she will be super happy to answer your questions more or less in the evening as a goodbye for her. Cool. Thank you so much, Pat. See you tomorrow. And
Bye. Have a great night.
We still have some little things to talk. Not that little, maybe. Let me open here. And let me present. Cool. So we just heard the speech of Pat. And just for quick alignments for tomorrow, we have the same link and we have the agenda already available for you all. Please call your members, call your MCs, call everyone, because tomorrow the day will be focused on auditing. And I know that this topic is kind of a struggle for everyone. So please bring everyone that is needed to learn or to work or to, I don't know, hear about the audit processes, because there are very cool spaces about this. talking about audit, before I give the mic for my ex-audit queen, you're always gonna be an audit queen, but right now you have to share the queenness with the other person. So I am like divided by heart. Do we have any alignments as CC for the plenary, or can we move to our funding part?
Hey guys. No, we can move with the queen.
Okay, great. So welcome, Mika, my amazing audit team leader for the previous term and the fund team leader for this VICO. The plenary.
Thank you for this amazing introduction. Yes, be there tomorrow for audit time, because later, if you don't, you will cry a lot.